how to be prepared to apply for the technical writer job. In order to understand this and kind of to set expectations for today, I'm going to talk about kind of the market expectations towards technical writers today. What exactly do they want from us as technical writers? What does it mean to be a technical writer? We will take a look at different aspects of the technical writer job that can be eye-opener for some of you to get a feeling as to what exactly is this job all about. I will talk also about a couple of questions that you can ask during your interview, or questions that you can address and research even before applying for a technical writer job. So stay with me, I promise it will be interesting. First of all, let me walk you through how I would search for a technical writer job. The place that I would usually start with is to go to LinkedIn or a website of this nature, where I will start searching for the technical writer profession, right? But one thing you should know is that technical writing as such is simply a skill. So the first hint from me would be that yes, go on, search for technical writer as the job posting, as the offering to go for. But remember that the job profile can be named differently. And sometimes what you do as technical writer will come up under different names, like UX writer, user assistance developer, staff writer, information architect, business analyst, various names for more or less the same job, depending on the company and how they refer to the particular job profile. So when you are there on your LinkedIn, you just search for the job you're interested in. For example, I will start by searching for position for technical writers, which are opened right now in my location in Bulgaria. As you can see, today it's the beginning of 2022. There are 72 related jobs to the field of technical writing opened here. And when you open one of the job profiles, here you will find the description for the company and their expectations. Now, I will randomly just go through a couple of these to give you an impression as to what we are talking about. When you read such job profiles, what are kind of the key things you should be looking at? First of all, let's directly scroll into their expectations towards you in this role. For example, here this company is looking for people with knowledge of HTML and CSS. They want you to be able to interview architects and technical personnel. They want also that you know Agile and work in dynamic environment. Okay, that's good, but doesn't really tell you that much towards the expectations they would have from you as technical writer. Let's look down on this offer. Create documentation for experienced and new developers taking the software development kit into use. Okay, so obviously very close to the technical part, to the technical development world, but when they say software development kit, what exactly do they mean? What languages do you have to know to be able to write such documentation? This is not specified here, and you should be asking those type of questions. Obviously, you will have to write documentation for developers just by briefly looking at this high-level job offer. I'm moving down to the next offer that I saw here from another company. Ignoring the company completely, just going directly into duties and responsibilities. Plan, research, design, write and edit end-user documentation. Okay, that's a good signal. It means that you will have to write user guides for them. At least they know what to expect from you. Let's look down what other things are interesting. Skills, again, experience with HTML, CSS, the tool, proficiency to use Matcap Flare. Obviously, this will be the tool for writing, and if you know how to write documentation using their tool, you already have good chances to grab their attention, right? Let's look at what else they want to consider. Again, just by looking that we are talking about company seeking for people with experience in agile software development, Java language, writing for global audiences, you can tell already we are talking about software documentation, and they already give you a hint as to what language is expected that you at least are familiar with as a technical writer. It's Java. Look at their expectations. You will have to write for global audiences in the financial sector. They care about images. This is a good signal. We know that documentation is not only about the written text, it's also about what we want to show to people visually. And experience with Jira and Confluence. You can already imagine that obviously this company is going to expect from you to deliver documentation in short cycles because they are agile software development company. The tools that you need to be familiar with are Jira and Confluence. I don't know what tool they use for writing other than Matcap Flare, but Confluence already feels like wiki and markup and markdown. This is a way for you to look at the different job offerings, but it can be quite kind of cryptical, unknown what they are talking about if you are not familiar with the technical writing job profile already. So this is what I'm going to try to demystify here in the next couple of minutes. On the slide that you see here on the screen, I've tried to capture on a super broader, very high level, what exactly you're supposed to be able to do as a technical writer. Pay attention to that. I've tried to capture on a high level almost everything that you can do as a technical writer, but this does not necessarily mean that you really do all of that at once in one and the same company. You know, in different companies, the expectations, the ratio, the focus will be different. And sometimes, yes, you will have to spend a lot of time on writing in one company. In the other company, people care much more about videos and instructional videos. On the third company, they want you to focus on company trainings and courses development. You get it? The overall job profile requires that you know at least a little bit of all of those aspects. But depending on the company on which you work, there will be a variation as to how much of that is really required from you. So don't be scared if you don't have all of those skills at the moment in which you apply, because simply in different companies the expectation will be slightly different. But let's look at what exactly you're supposed to be able to deliver. First of all, define documentation deliverables and write end-user documentation. That's obvious, right? But sometimes I've met technical writers, people who want to be in the job, and they don't even know what we are talking about and confuse the different types of documentation that you can go for. Remember that creation of graphics, being visual, is super essential for our job. And if you just deliver content which is just pure raw text, you know, that's not very good for the user who consumes this information. You always need to be able to provide graphics and be visual. The next thing, creation of videos, and especially our special types of video, instructional how-to videos that complement your documentation is also going to be very important, depending on the type of the product you have to describe. Some products go very well with instructional videos, other products, well, they don't really match instructional video. Depending on the area in which you focus, the expectation will be different. Language editing of written content. Yes, you must have very good language skills. Depending on the company, there might be a dedicated editor to review what you have written, or the expectation could be on the other part of the spectrum where you're expected to edit also the content yourself. Usually the editing is a separate job profile by itself, so don't be scared. You just need to demonstrate that you can write well, right? Text editing of user interfaces. Again, how good are you and with the overall UX design and your appeal for well-written information on the screen? Can you contribute to this part of the development? Design and deliver courses and trainings. I've seen situations in which technical writers spend a lot of time working on courses and trainings, and technical writers who never have to write courses or deliver trainings as part of their job. This is again very much depending on the company. It might be something that you are good at or you're interested in or not. Just be careful in which direction you want to go, and it's also kind of your personal choice what to focus on. It's not only what companies require from you. Remember always that. Working with customers. We are in the technical communications field, right? So as a technical writer, you need to spend a lot of time communicating, researching, investigating what customers expect from your documentation. So being able to do that on different extent is also going to be essential for you. And then moving on to the kind of more technical skills or hard skills, like what tools do you know? How do you know to use them? All of that could be a good match for you or not that good match for you, depending on what the particular company is doing. So this is what you can come up as a job profile for yourself. In everything you do, in your resume, in your job summary, emphasize on the parts that you already know and do well or are of interest for you. Demonstrate that you know them in your job profile description when you apply for a job. Now, I mentioned that technical writing is a skill, and being a technical writer also requires that you have different skills other than just the pure writing. So what are those skills that you can go for? And here again I'm listing a very high level overview of the skills that you may have or want to pursue as a technical writer. And again, in your job profile, when you want to promote yourself, to show off, how good are you, try to make sure that you pay attention to those skills. This is what is also needed and will help you to grow in your technical writing career. So first of all, structured writing. Believe me, it's full of technical writers who have no clue what is structured writing, and they assume that writing documentation is to just write something, some instruction, that's it. No structure, no automation whatsoever. Pay attention to that. Make it clear that you know what structured writing is all about. That is essential. Without being able to structure, I don't think you should even apply for a technical writer job. That's super basic skill, but let's make it prominent in your own resume. Without any structured order here, the next point is lead a team of technical writers. Leading a team requires completely different skills from being a good technical writer, but good technical writers are very often asked to lead teams of technical writers. So think about it, and if you have leadership skills, knowing how to lead people formally or informally, make sure that's also clear and visualized somewhere in your resume. Nowadays, project management skills are essential. You saw it already in the job profiles, how people said experience with agile development. That's a way to manage a project. And if you know how to organize your work and achieve results, that's already talking about your project management skills. The same goes along with product management. how your documentation fits the different products that the company is working on. Pay attention to those things. Marketing and branding, UX design, all of these are skills that will help you make sure that the product overall is improved by your contribution as technical writers. Depending on the company where you apply, the development skills that they require will be different. As a result, you can't just go and apply into any software development company because most probably you have heard or you know just a couple of programming languages. And this is your kind of competitive advantage to the market. The language that you know and the other technical writers do not know who apply for the job. So if the company wants you to know Java and you know Java, then you are a good match. But if you know a completely different programming language, then maybe this is not your company. You need to be careful about that. Interviewing and researching customers and developers. Very essential skill. Very often newbie technical writers don't know how important and difficult it is to interview developers and development teams or work with customers. This is a special skill. Pay attention to that, underline it in your resume. Generic communication skills and demonstrating how good you are in communications, of course, essential. Everything related to localization and translation of content, that you are familiar with those concepts. And also information architecture and taxonomy development skills, how to structure, organize holistically your content and your information to meet the expectations of your users. Nowadays, if you are searching for a job, I suggest you search not simply for technical writer, but try also some of those names and see their description. Very often, those job names actually include a lot of technical writing skills that you might already have, and it's worth just to check whether somebody is not promoting that they are searching for technical writer, but technical communicator, user assistance developer, any of the kind of close to our field job names could leverage, and you can just give it a try and search for those job titles. When you are there at the interview, you're ready for your job, you're going to apply, and you have a chance to go there. Do not go unprepared. Be prepared. And I've heard this like 1,000 times, be prepared. What exactly does it mean? Here is a list of questions that you need to either ask or be prepared before or during the interview. For example, just the basics of tools they use for writing. What exactly are they using? Are they just using simple editors, or they have content management systems? And which exactly? Maybe you're already familiar with their tools, or they use tools that you know will already be trouble if you stay with those tools. What do they use that you know and you like? Do they write in XML? And do they expect you that you know XML, or they use completely different type of XML? What XML schema do they expect to use? What do they do with that? What output formats do they produce, for example, for the documentation? This is going to be important. This will be essential to decide how technical you need to be in the job you're after. Whom are you going to report to? This is again very important. You need to know the person that you report to, that he or she really cares about your job. One of the unfortunate things for technical writers is to end up in a company where their job is not appreciated. And why it's not appreciated? Because somebody on a high level do not understand the value that you bring. So pay attention to that and learn who are you going to report to and what is this person's opinion towards the job you will be doing. This will lead to great satisfaction for you later on in the job, or complete dissatisfaction and you will be off looking for another job soon, right? So be careful about those details. Ask that, what is the role of this person, what is their opinion about technical writing and software documentation that you are going to produce. Take a look at the types of content that they are already producing. Are we talking about end-user guides? What end-user guides? Do they already have guides? Just check their website, their products. What will be the target group that you're going to have to write documentation for? So be careful about those things. If you enjoy very technical API documentation type of writing, obviously go for an API documentation role. But if you want to stay away from that and just focus on administration type of guides, go for a company that wants end-user documentation much more and not so technical aspects in your own work. So pay attention to those things to make a smart decision and smart choice where to go for. Ask them, why do they want a technical writer? Some of the job offerings I'm seeing already on LinkedIn, for example, they are scary. The list of things you have to do is just huge. They expect you to do absolutely everything, which for me is not a good signal. If they don't know exactly the job of the technical writer, they will have strange, unrealistic expectations from you. If they want you to be a trainer, developer, editor, writer and UX expert and they want to pay just little money for that, obviously this company does not really understand the benefits that you are going to provide for them. So ask them, why do you need a technical writer? What is the benefit that you will get from me being your technical writer? Just ask them during the interview to get a feeling about their expectations from you going forward. This will help you a lot. How big is the team that you're joining? Is it large or small? That would make a difference depending on the personality you have. If you enjoy working with many colleagues, you want a big team. If you prefer to be the solo author who owns and controls everything, then a small startup is maybe better for you. Just choose it wisely. And also how your work is going to be evaluated, by whom and how frequently. This is also going to be essential. What are the key performance indicators towards documentation? And if you hear a number of pages you have written, just run away from this company as soon as you can. You want a measurable KPI that makes sense. Somebody who understands your contribution and the value that you will bring to their company. And the last thing I want to add in this kind of brief summary here, I want to encourage you. I want to remind you that it is important that if there is a job offer for a company that you like, for a position that you know will make you feel good about your work and is the right place for you, you look at these amazingly complicated job profiles that they expect you to be able to cover. Very often people just say, oh no, I'm not ready, I will not apply, I do not cover all of these requirements. Still, go ahead, do your best. Demonstrate how much or how little you know about the particular subject. Demonstrate your enthusiasm to work there. And still apply. Just think about it this way. What is the worst thing that can happen to you? Somebody will say, no. Take it like, no, not yet, not today. Maybe we have already chosen the candidate, you're too late, or you simply do not have one particular skill yet, but tomorrow you might learn it. Don't be scared by the rejection. Go ahead. Apply there and think about it this way. What if they say, yes, you are the person for us? and in the end you make a great career. Then it would be worth it. So with that, one more time, I would like to encourage you to go ahead, give it a try, get ready with the questions with your resume, and go for the technical communicator job. With that, we are almost at the end of our live session. Thank you one more time for joining here, and good luck with applying for the technical writing job you want.